Hey, I'm Sean Gowans. This is my new show called Unhinged on American Liberty Media. I'll be focusing on economics, finance, some history here and there. This first show is going to be called American Millennium. I'll be relying on a lot of source material from Muhammad Al-Arian, Martin Wolf, and of course, Peter Zeihan. Our world is shifting into a very new order right now. We're seeing globalism fall apart. Crazy headlines that seemed like a once a year event just a few years ago are now happening several times a week. We're seeing the Middle East heat up. We're seeing Eastern Europe heat up. World War III is no longer some weird science fiction concept. And at the week we're watching this is being recorded, the new Fallout show just came out, which is kind of funny to me that now things are heating up. We have a new popular show about the nuclear apocalypse. It's great. So let's talk about what is causing all of this. Well, first, let's talk about demographics. Pretty much every country in the world, mostly developing countries where it's hardest, has a declining population. America has one too, but we're about 40 years ahead of, say, Germany or South Korea or Japan. I think South Korea, Japan, and China have it worse off. Germany is really bad as well. At the end of the Second World War, the reason America was crowned king essentially was because we were the only ones left. The demographic situation alone is going to recreate that circumstance, that condition. We will be the only developed industrial nation left with an actual working age populace, or even one close to it. And because we're roughly 40 years off from everyone else, we're behind rather, we still have time to fix this. Another thing is, well, as my good friend Stephen Swain would call it, Dollarzilla. The only central bank in the world that matters is the American Central Bank, the American Federal Reserve. The Bank of England kind of, but aside from those two, nothing. So with the world, with globalism dying off, America is going to be retreating. We saw this with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. We're turning inwards. Us and our immediate allies like the UK, Canada, Japan, Australia. That's really it. I guess say like the Republic of Ireland or Mexico, but it's going to be a lot smaller. That means we're bringing our dollar supply back. You're seeing this constant talk of quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. There's going to be less dollars to go around. That means that everyone outside of the new American empire is going to be fighting for them. I want to do a whole episode on the China situation, but China is dying off because of their one-child policy. They're also going to partially die off because of this. If China can't get dollars, they can't buy food or energy to import through the Straits of Malacca. That is going to cause a crisis in China. It's going to cause a crisis everywhere unless you're a part of this new American system. But it's not going to be a globalist system. So now that we've kind of discussed an intro to what this series called American Millennium is going to be about, I want to talk about the American economy and where it's going. We're going to run out of people, but not to the same extent everyone else is. That means that our young people are going to be paid more, and we're going to have more jobs than ever. We're going to have to reindustrialize. Reindustrializing will create more jobs than ever, and I think that's going to be the key to reducing inflation. There is not enough gold in the world to make it to where we could go back to the gold standard to help with inflation. However, if America reindustrializes, we have more people working than ever, we're making things American. That means that we can more or less drive the price of the dollar down by having more goods available, goods and services. That's how we can bring inflation down. And wages are going to have to go up. And I firmly believe that with more things being produced by Americans, the prices will also have to come down. If what I mentioned earlier about the American Golden Age following the end of the Second World War, thus being the last one standing, you're going to see the same condition recreated again. The Golden Age that we think the boomers had, the baby boomers, that might have just been a taste of what's coming. America has always more or less been an autarky. We don't really trade a lot. We're about to get a whole lot more independent, and the only countries we're going to talk to are going to be our immediate neighbors and allies. America will be the only system left in the world, essentially. We're going to buy American, we're going to build American, we're going to eat American, we're going to be American. As I'm recording this, it's the 14th of April. The Fed is constantly coming under attack about what the rates are going to be. Are they going to go up? Are they going to go down? The reality is the market should be setting the rate, not the Fed. The Fed is just their job to tell us what it's going to be, but it's not the job to set it. The market should be setting it. And I would say that the natural rate is probably more around 6%. There's a lot of debate around that though, so I'm not getting too into it in this episode. But you're going to see the market start to set the rate again. you're going to see the government start to back away out of the capital market as well, because as I discussed earlier, there's going to be less dollars to go around. That's no thing to panic about. If you have a good idea, a good business model, you don't have to worry. However, this means the government is going to have to compete against American business owners for the limited capital. The government will lose that fight because the American citizen can walk away, and they're the ones who can win that because of it. So the government's going to have to leave the capital market. The Federal Reserve is going to have to let the market set the rates. We're essentially going back to sort of a pre-Second World War, pre-World War I world where the government has a very limited involvement. If it's not a direct matter of public safety or stability of the currency, I don't think the government will be that involved. This is great for America. And I try to avoid politics, but I think the government has gone too far in how much they're in our lives. This new global order is going to force them to retract. Otherwise, we'll be competing with them, like I said, in the capital market for the same limited amount of capital. It's not going to work for the new American economy that's coming. We can't reindustrialize and raise wages and produce more things if that happens. One situation we see playing right now in the world is the Israel-Palestine situation and the Iran-Saudi Arabia situation. They're really the same thing. Saudi Arabia is going to side with Israel because they cannot side with Iran because they're two different types of Islam, Shiite and Sunni differences. Well, here's the thing about Saudi Arabia. They're being forced to pick a side because they know America is leaving. If any of you are watching this now have been paying attention, the Red Sea is full of pirates. The Houthi, or Houthi, however you want to pronounce it. The only reason Saudi Arabia is as powerful as it is today, as rich as it is today, is because America has been using our Navy to protect them to ship their oil out. There is nothing in Saudi Arabia of value other than that oil. If globalism falls apart, if America stops protecting them or they don't have any sort of protection, their country will go back to the way it was before that protection, being nothing, just being a desert. There's some wayside here or there. So they're being forced to side with Israel against Iran. Look at Ukraine right now. The Ukraine war has been going on for roughly 2 years at this point. That was one of the first signs that this global order was breaking. 30 years ago, the idea of a Russian resurgence of them attacking another country or attempting to, that would have been unheard of. You're seeing the system break. You're seeing the globalist system fall apart. You're seeing America withdraw more. We're going to see more of these regional conflicts, more collapses, and so on. And as the demographic situation continues ahead, we're going to see entire nation states fall off the map. This entire series is going to go into depth about this whole thing, what I'm predicting, the numbers, the facts to back it up. I want it to be more or less an academic thesis. I don't intend for any of these videos to be over, say, 15 minutes, but if these kinds of things interest you, stay tuned. I'm Sean Goins. Have a good day.